Hi, welcome to Satsang. Helen, we'll start in a few minutes. How lucky are we to be here tonight? I've got a few announcements. I'll just do the normal stuff first. Welcome to our new faces. It's lovely to have new people here. For those in the room, help yourselves to tea and coffee. There's a pot there for some pennies, 80p a time, if you've got it. We're not too strict on it. And any profit we make goes to the residential place we're in for their social fund. The way it runs is Helen will do a little talk and then it'll be questions and answers. If you let her know if you have a question and you have to sit in this seat, you're not seeing, just to hear your voice. But this does go on YouTube, so keep any personal details out of it if that's what you prefer. When she's answering a question, it's not interactive with everyone else, it's just to listen, and then at the end of that, anyone else will be invited for a question. When we leave tonight, could you please leave quietly, as it is a residential place, and when we've finished and we're having a cuppa afterwards, if we can keep on topic. And also phones on silent, not on vibrate, because it does make a difference when you're sitting trying to listen. Online, welcome to everyone. If you have anything to ask, please email by 5:30 of the evening of the Satsang, or tomorrow we have a lunchtime Satsang and it's 9:30 for that one. So I've got a few announcements about upcoming events. Tomorrow, as I said, we've got a lunchtime Satsang, 11 till 1. Runs the same as this. The address for it is on the website. The retreat was full, but we've managed to find some extra rooms. So if anyone does want to come on retreat, you need to book and pay as soon as possible. We can't guarantee the space, but if you ask us, we can inquire whether we can get the space. We've managed to get one. And we very likely we'll be able to get others, but it will be on a book as people request it, which is amazing. It's really good. Retreat is amazing, so if anyone wants to come, let me know as soon as possible, because booking is by tomorrow, but we appreciate that it'll take a few days. We're very pleased to announce that we're going to have an online Sangha group for those that can't come to group that Karen runs. It will be, the first one will be on the 9th of Sunday the 9th at 12:30. Details are on the website and on the Facebook group and page. If anyone wants to join it, you'd be very welcome. We will get a link to you to join an interactive session. You won't just hear it, you can actually, I suppose more for people online, you can actually speak to people on it, and Gaynor will be running that. We're also very pleased to announce that Helen's got another new book printed and it is ready to be ordered on Amazon. We will have copies here in 2 weeks. So if you come in here and want to wait, that's fine. It will be a case of buying them on the day. We've ordered quite a few. So it's the Hamilton Gita, Musing from the One. Brilliant title. So we'll have that in a couple of weeks. The other event I want to talk about is the Satsang Intensive, which is on the 16th of February. It includes meditations and satsangs, and there's going to be a guided self-inquiry as well. We do take a lunch break. That is 11 till 3. And the address for that, it's at ours. The address for that is on the website. If you're not sure about anything, just ask me later or email in. We can let you have information. Everything is on the website, helenhamilton.org. And any questions, just send it to the email address. I think that's it. So have a good satsang. The Sangha group is every Monday. That's a local one that people can attend in person, run by Karen. I think that's it. Have a good satsang.
Namaste. Welcome to Satsang. Welcome to all new faces and old faces. Well, faces that have been before. So if you're new to Satsang, then really it serves us to find out what Satsang is, to know why we're here, really, which is the crux of our existential question, why am I here? But also, why am I here listening to this? And it's really because Satsang is where we end up when we are tired of our mind, tired of our old way of thinking and feeling, tired of our old way of existing. And if you're anything like I was when I first found Satsang, it was kind of hungry for something, but I didn't know what it was. You know, there must have been something else. There must be some other way to live my life than how I was currently living, which is pretty much running out of everything. You know, running out of peace, running out of quiet, running out of money, running out of energy, running out of everything. You know, just certainly run out of joy, certainly run out of peace, certainly run out of passion about life. So Satsang is for discovering that there is more to us than we have perhaps realized, that there is a much deeper aspect of our own being, which is inherently peaceful and quiet. And that perhaps we've been relying on our mind and our life and our experience to bring that peace and quiet to us. And Satsang is the place to find a more direct way to go deep inside our own being, perhaps to discover aspects of ourselves that we didn't know existed, maybe. Most of us as human beings are used to just exploring our mind, our emotions, our world, our experiences, and letting those define who we are. But if you find yourself in Satsang, it's really because this deep urge to find something else, something much more stable, something much more permanent, something which will bring lasting peace. Most of us are trying to find peace and happiness. It's what most human beings want, isn't it? We want peace. We want to be happy. We want to feel safe. We want to feel authentic. We want to feel joyful. But if we're waiting for our life and our experiences and our emotions and our thoughts to give us that peace, for most of us that doesn't really work too well. It certainly didn't for me. And so Satsang is really the place to go deeper inside ourselves, to really find the core of our being, what we actually are, because we're not what we think we are. We are not the sum total of our thoughts, our desires, our goals, our dreams. We're not the sum total of our experiences, our memories, our anticipation of the future. We are something so much more deep and profound than that. And instead of waiting for peace to happen to us, we can come to see that peace isn't a happening. Peace is a side effect, a consequence, a symptom of seeing what we really actually are. So it serves us to turn our attention inside and to ask the most important question of all. Perhaps the most important question you'll ever ask yourself. What really am I? Is there something deeper than my mind and my body? What is this I that I refer to? What is this me that I refer to when I say my mind and my body? Is there something deeper? And instead of waiting for peace to happen to make it an event, instead of waiting for awakening to happen, instead of trying to do something, to get somewhere, to become something different than we are, Satsang is the place to put that aside temporarily and to start to see, to start to look, to start to find something. What you really are, you can't see with your eyes, but you can probably feel it to some degree right now. There's something else about you that's always been here. There's something about you that's inherently peaceful already. So peace comes from a seeing and then a being. Seeing it and then being it. And then we see it again, we look again, and then we look again, and we look again. Each time we look, we will find the same core essence of our being, something that is profoundly stable, something that is so inherently permanent. It just is. It doesn't need anything, doesn't want anything. When we find this quiet place within our own being, that is our own being, that our mind and body are appearing in, that perhaps we've never really realized that's what we've really meant when we said I or me. The seeing is so profound that it changes our body and mind. And we move from trying to make something happen, trying to find peace, to finding what we really are, which brings peace all by itself. There is a quiet place inside you that is you. A place that isn't touched by any thought, any experience. A place that cannot suffer. And it's enough to simply want to see it. What else is there to me that I haven't explored as yet? What else is there about me that's much more stable than my body and mind? And instead of trying to find peace, is there somewhere inside me that's already inherently peaceful and can't be otherwise? There is a deep and profound silence that is you, in which all of this is appearing, all of this world, including your body, including your thoughts, including your emotions. And it was here long before this body came, and it will be here long after your body's gone. So trying to make peace happen, it's like trying to put the cart before the horse. Instead, we can see what we already are, because our mind and body reflects what we know to be true about ourselves. If we believe that we're a separate being, alone in time and space, trying to get through life, trying to accumulate as much love and peace as we can before we leave. That our mind and body will reflect this sense of want and need. But if we have a deep and profound seeing, what is the effect of that going to be on our mind and body? We start to have thoughts such as, wow, I'm not anything that I thought I was. I'm not a body and mind at all, although they are happening to me. How will your body feel if your predominant thoughts are, I really don't think I stop ever. I didn't come from anywhere and I'm not going to disappear. So each seeing of what you are takes it deeper inside yourself, and then your mind and body will begin to reflect that in your everyday life. We all know as human beings the effect of thinking that we're a being that was born and is going to die at some point. We've all lived with fear and anger and all kinds of suffering. But seeing your true infinite nature is going to reflect in your mind and body. Naturally, peace will come from that. Like, I really can't find an edge to my real being. I can't find where I end. I can't find how I started. I don't think I did start. I don't have any limits. I don't need or want anything. Naturally, your mind and body begin to slow down in this seeing. No matter how much we're seeing, we can always see clearer, always. Nearly everyone I meet is trying to make peace happen, trying to find the peace, the stability in the changeful world of thoughts and emotions and experience. But that's like standing in front of the mirror and trying to change a reflection in the mirror. It's impossible. You can only come to see clearly that I'm not what I thought I was, actually. Nothing I thought about myself really is true. Everything I think about myself, I'm really thinking about my mind and my body, and that's not me. Even to ask the question, what really am I, actually, begins to bring peace. Even not needing an answer to that question, just the question itself. So I'd urge you to stop trying to make something happen, to stop seeking, and to start finding, to start looking. And naturally, when you see, you will come to be. That's how it works. Most of us have been experiencing our thoughts about ourselves and not actually ourselves. As incredible as that is, you may have never actually really met yourself yet. You may never have actually experienced what you really are. Quietness itself. So quiet that you can hear all these thoughts. And as you see, you'll come to be. See again, you'll be even more clearly. Imagine what your life will look like when your predominant thought pattern is, I have absolutely always been this beautiful silence. It's just so obvious that I've always been this. When you move from, I can't find peace, to I'm the source of peace, and then I've always been that. What effect is that going to have on your life, on your mind, on your body? You might be feeling it right now to some degree. Just from being willing to question, just from being open, is there anything else to see about me? Every time we see, then our mind and body come to be. Every time we see, there's a being that happens. So awakening, enlightenment, happiness, peace, it's not a doing. It's not an event. Stop waiting for something to happen in your mind and body to prove what you are. Instead, find out deeply what you are and see what happens then. Peace is never going to come through our thoughts and emotions, only through a deep and profound seeing, which can happen any second. Even if you don't know what you've actually seen, even just to see there's something about me that I can't really describe at all. I can't grasp it. I can't find my real being. I can't see it with my eyes. Yet every time I get into its vicinity, I feel deeply peaceful, more and more, profoundly quiet. And somehow, without even trying, my mind begins to slow down. This is the being happening, coming to be what you've seen. Your mind and body are going to reflect what you know about yourself. So when I realized this, I changed everything about myself, my pathway. And I started to see and see and see and see. And no matter how much I'd seen, I looked again and again and again until it was just so obvious that this is what I've always been, that I never actually was this human being. I am that as well, but not only that. And if I focus only on that part of me that's coming and going and changing, then I'll never feel peaceful. If instead I expand my vision and find what I really am, that quiet space of awareness in which my mind and body are appearing, then peace will be my constant companion from that seeing. And then joy, and then love, and then bliss. Just from looking, just from looking. So it's not a doing, it's a seeing. It's not trying to get anywhere. It's just looking deeply and finding out where you already are, what you already are. It's a different way to orient our spiritual search. Instead of being convinced that we have further to travel, that we must become someone else, we must become a better person, or let go of something, or do something else before we arrive. What if I'm already there? What if my mind and body are just reflecting to me my own sense of incompleteness? And if I look, I might find something so complete that it washes over my body and mind, and then out into my whole life, all of my relationships, everything I do, everywhere I go, comes bathed in this peace. So awakening is not a happening. It's not going to happen to you. It's going to happen through you. As we see deeply what we are, body and mind begin to experience this opening, this expansion, this upgrade. Do you love yourself enough to stop and see if you might already be there? You know? Will you give yourself a few minutes just to look and really find out what you actually are? Could it be that simple? Could it be that easy? Could we already be what we're looking for? We've just been so busy looking in our body and mind for something that is beautifully before that. Just to see, just to look one more time. What really am I when I don't reference my body and mind? I know those really well. Let me look at what else there is about me. And what does that need? What does that want? Where is that traveling to? Is it suffering? Does it need to be more worthy? Does it even need to find peace, your real being? So stop waiting for something to happen and find what's already here. Something that's never happened, it's always been. And if you really hear these words, they will stop you in your tracks. They will stop all of your progress and process, and all of your becomingness will melt into this beautiful seeing, just seeing already what I am. Just seeing and then being. Satsang is a place for stopping, for finding, for realizing, for seeing. If anybody would like to ask a question or share an experience. Did you have a question?
So I've been doing your dissolving the ego cross, dissolving the ego cross, which is lovely, wonderful. But it kind of brings up things as well for me, which I guess is the nature of the course, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I asked a question on Tuesday in the course.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
I asked a question during the course about there's still a little bit of fear despite all my experiences of meditation and all sorts of things. There's still a kind of a fear.
A fear, yeah.
of when this body kind of leaves. So I kind of went away, and I've been kind of contemplating that. And then I've kind of flipped it around a little bit. And I've been wondering, what I really want to know now kind of is this silence that I kind of discovered over probably the last 3 to 4 years, maybe. It's gradually getting more and more easy to find it. Whether that is real and permanent. Because I know the body's going to go.
So yeah, the body comes and goes. That's obvious. But you want to see this, if the silence that is your real being.
Is that going to stay when the body goes?
It's a really good thing to investigate, isn't it? Because if it is what you really are, then you want to know it's not going to come to an end. Because if we think we're going to come to an end or experience some ending, then there will be fear. And to profoundly realize that that isn't going to happen is the end of all fear and all suffering in general. So it's like the most important thing to look at, isn't it? Once you've found that real being, that quietness, as you have, then to become really interested in what's the difference between that and my mind and body. So it's a really good thing to investigate. We can look at it now if you want.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah.
While you're on the seat, yeah. So, what did you ask? You wanted to know if it was real and permanent.
Yeah, because there's something still, when it maybe a Catholic upbringing that I had, that you get one shot at this, and it's all going to go at some point. There's always that kind of teaching. At some point, it's all going to go. More or less. And obviously, I've heard since then, since listening to you for a while, that's not the case, or that's what you're saying to me. That's not the case. But I really want to know that 100% for myself. Right. I still think there's maybe hedging the bets a little bit in some way. I'm not hedging the bets, but there's kind of a bit of sitting on the fence.
Well, if you can find out for certain that what you really are didn't arrive, then it's not going to leave, is it? Only something that came or started or began can have an ending. Something that appeared or can disappear. Something that was born can die. Something that appeared, began, will have a finish, an ending. So does that apply to the silence? This is something to really look at. Even if we're not looking for a thought answer to this question specifically, although that may happen too. What we're looking for is a deep and powerful seeing. When did the silence that is your real being start? Where did it come from? Right now, if you experience what you actually are, that silence, as you call it, which is just a name for it really, isn't it? When did it start? And again, with this question, there is no right or wrong answers.
So it feels at the moment I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Well, let's take it back a step then. Can it actually start? What does it mean for something to start? Is it, if you agree with me that if we can prove that it didn't start, that it's always been here, then it won't ever stop.
Okay.
Right? So, can it start like a body or a thought? They have beginnings, don't they? And they exist for a finite duration. And then they end. So can that silence, the deep profound silence that you are start.
What I do know is that when I look, I'm kind of here, but I can't grab hold of anything.
There's nothing tangible about the silence.
No, it's just here.
It's here.
But it's not something that I can find, if you see what I mean.
So
solid, I can't find anything solid.
There's nothing solid about it yet. It's completely intangible. And you're absolutely here, like space or the air in this room. You can't see it, but it must be here, or else we'd all be in trouble.
Yeah.
So if it's not a tangible thing, that silence, can it start? Did it suddenly come into existence at some point? Because if it did, then it's going to have an ending at some point. That's the downside to anything that begins, isn't it? It's only here for a limited time. Some things last longer, like our bodies. Some things last very short time, like a cell or a thought or something. If we take our body as an example of something that started, at some point it wasn't there, and then it was visible and tangible, and we call that a beginning, a birth, a start.
So what you're saying is, because it's intangible, it's always been there. So it can't not be there. But there's nothing for it to be there. Doesn't make sense.
You're doing really, really good with this.
What I mean is,
when anything starts, there's a change happens, isn't there?
Yeah.
When a thought starts, it wasn't there 2 minutes ago,
and
then suddenly it's perceivable.
Yeah.
Not with your eyes, but kind of with your awareness. You can be aware of a thought. There's a thought there now in my mind, and it wasn't 2 minutes before, or even 2 seconds before. You can perceive it. So can you do that with the silence? Can it change into something that's perceivable and start? This is really good stuff. This is really good.
The only thing that seems to change is that it's stronger, sensible.
But has the silence itself changed? If we look at everything that comes into being, even the universe itself, that it wasn't visible, tangible, perceivable at all, and then suddenly it is. Right? From the smallest amoeba to the universe itself, to our human body, to our thoughts, there's a starting point where they become visible, tangible, perceivable. Obviously thoughts are less tangible than our body, but they're still, we can observe them, we can see them. Things out here we see with our physical eyes, things in here we see with our awareness. Our silent being. So is that ever going to happen with the silence? Is it ever going to become different than it is? Can it change?
It's a really good phrase, change, because I always think of it. One of the other ways I think of it is something that's unchanging. I really feel like, although a lot of things have changed in my life, there's something that hasn't. I don't feel any different.
You, the core of your being, you've seen it's not changing.
No.
It's just you. It just is. So could it ever become something other than it is? Could it ever change into something else? That's silence. Even to look at this question, even to not get an answer right now, but to be looking, you might move even from the question, you might go right past thoughts and emotional answers and experiences into a direct knowing of the answer. A deep and profound absence of any fear might be the answer to this question. A peace that's unbreakable. Later, your mind and body might reflect that and go, wow, massive epiphany that it never, you know.
So the knowing is just going to come.
You will be it. You will move from seeing to being. How will you know when you found the answer to this question? Did what I am ever actually start? My body did, my mind did. They all had a beginning and they'll have an end. But my deepest being, is that ever going to come to an end? Only if it started. And that's a change or an appearance. Suddenly it's there and it wasn't before. Is that possible for something that's intangible and yet absolutely present? Can you feel a difference in your body even from looking at this question? What's happening in your body? Tell me what's happening.
Because it's a lot more energy flowing and something kind of sinking in or something. I don't know how to describe it.
So it's important to notice we have not arrived at an aha moment. That might occur, it might not. But you're moving into an experiential answer for this question. Did I ever actually start? Did I appear? Did I come into being? Did I begin?
A little bit of excitement.
Excitement, yeah. And we really have to begin to choose which answer we prefer here. You know, we can sit in this time that we're talking, we're burning away a lot of illusion and delusion. Can you feel? Just by looking at this. Because we're so used to looking at ourselves as something that began and have an ending. But of course, that only applies to our mind and body. I'm not negating our mind and body at all, but this most important question about our real being, which can lead to the absolute absence of the ability to suffer. A deep and profound knowing that's even before thoughts that I never began. As that hits home, I'll never end. I always am. And it doesn't even really, it sounds like a weird thing, so it doesn't matter if your mind ever has this thought or not. Something's already going deeper than the mind, isn't it? What's happening now?
Just kind of relaxation. And a kind of like, it almost feels like a strange question to ask now.
Yeah.
That, of course, if something is intangible, how can it?
So it's a direct knowing.
Yeah.
You're being it.
Yeah.
So much so that it seems ridiculous to ask the question. Yet 2 minutes before you ask the question, it seemed important to ask the question.
Yeah.
So we're learning how to progress in our answers to an experiential answer of that question. You know, every time I ask myself, what really am I? It almost became irrelevant what the thoughts were. Nothing wrong with thoughts, but what I wanted was a deep and profound experiential answer that was so clear and obvious.
So the mind might never get this. It might always be chumping
It's always
away.
a little bit late, mind, isn't it? It'll kind of wake you up at 2 o'clock and go, I never began, you know, or something, you know, or you'll be driving along, it'll go, you know.
Okay.
And it's fine. But even if you have that, it's going to go, isn't it? Any thought, epiphany, aha moment, you know, that we're all somehow seeking. It will happen inside this experience that you're having right now of your real being. So, you know, it's one will last forever and one will last for a moment.
Yeah.
So the question itself becomes more important than any particular answer. Just to undo that assumption that I did begin is enough. Just to be willing to question that. And more, when you ask the question, it will seem a bit daft. Like, course I didn't begin. Because in a beginning is a change and an appearance, a sudden formation of a form, whether it's a thought or a body or something, it appears and it wasn't visible before. And the silence, the real self, the intangible you that your mind and body is appearing in, it doesn't change like that, does it?
No, it doesn't.
You're having trouble thinking then, aren't you?
Yeah. Just a little bit, yeah.
So here, is the question important here? Or is the need for the question and the questioner gone in this moment?
That's good though, I like that.
Some point, you know, about when driving on the way home, your mind will pop back up and say, you didn't really answer your question. You didn't really get an answer.
Yeah.
That'll come as a byproduct of seeing.
So is it really just a case of keep asking questions?
Yeah, like really important questions like, did I begin? Will I end? Now that I've seen what I am, and it's not a visible thing, it's not, I can't grab it, I can't slice it, I can't do anything to hurt it, because it's not a thing. It's like saying, when did the space in this room begin? When did the space in the universe begin? More and more, there's just a sense that I have always been. Another way to find the answer to this question is only something that exists in time and that is subject to time can begin and end. So is that true for the silence? What time in the silence?
Yeah. That's a bit profound, that one.
Sit with this question and let it take you ever deeper into the answer.
I know that I've kind of touched on it in contemplation before, but it seems to be since doing the course for the second time that I'm actually able to stay with the question a bit longer. For a couple of days and without kind of go, I'm not sure about that one, and kind of like,
Yeah. There becomes a point where it happens without you realizing that the experiential answers suddenly become more important than any thing that happens up here. Or even any fear comes, it won't stop you because there's something has to know. You have to find out. And like you say, I might have seen that I am that silence, but I haven't fully seen what that actually means. You know, so there's something becomes more curious. What does it mean to be that then? If that's what I actually am, what does that mean? And it's very much worth finding the answer to this question, because for the rest of your body's existence, there can be no more fear. Even when the body is going, there will be no fear, just peace. You know, and you're experiencing that right now. In this place, you can't feel fear. Not because you're suppressing it or anything. It's just obvious here that you always are. You know. From that openness, you'll get some deep and powerful seeings very, very quickly. And it'll have a profound effect on your body and your mind. Very good, very important question. Well done.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Would anybody else like to ask or share an experience? Everybody too stoned to ask. Should we do a meditation? Okay. Did you have a question? We'll do a short meditation. So just as we're sitting, just as we are right now, we're just going to sit inside ourselves. We're just going to be exactly how we are in this moment. Just for this time here. We're not going to demand anything of ourselves at all. If a thought arises, I should, I must, I can't, I won't, I shouldn't, I need, I want. Just let those thoughts arise. Offer no resistance at all. Just letting go of any need to achieve anything out of this meditation. As if you're already succeeding just by being. Just allowing yourself to be authentic however you are right now. If your mind is thinking, let it think. Just watching the thoughts come and go. There's no need to get involved in anything. Just watching. Just noticing how you feel when you let go of trying to get somewhere. Trying to become something, someone. Trying to get rid of anything. Noticing how you feel when you stop traveling for a moment and just be. And as you're just sitting, just being, making no attempt to change anything. There's nothing we need to achieve. We're just watching. Just allowing yourself to be however you are in this moment. What do you feel like when you're already just being? What does it feel like in your body just to be and not to do or to try? What does it feel like to have no intentions at all, just for a moment? Just being. There's no need to do anything at all, just for this moment. If there's thoughts, there's thoughts. If there's emotions, there's emotions. All of this just happen inside you as you're just being. Just watching. Just coming to recognize the part of you that's just being. Not being someone. Not being no one. Just being. Being that space in which thoughts arise. Emotions arise. Experiences happen. States come and go. That quiet place inside you that's just being. Recognizing how it feels to just be. Allowing yourself to rest here. Allowing your mind and body to just do whatever they want to do. Naturally, peace begins to happen by itself. When we're not disturbing ourselves. We have no intention, no desires. If they arise in the mind, just simply let them arise. Don't need to reject anything. Just being yourself is enough in this moment completely. Allowing yourself to enjoy just being. The end of a journey. Just arriving here, right where you are. And nothing needs to happen here, nothing needs to change. You're already whole, adequate, complete. And we stop traveling and we just be. We stop reaching and becoming and just be. We find what we're looking for. A deep contentment. Even while our mind is busy, even while our body is moving, we can just be. Just being that space in which our mind and body is just happening by itself. And when we're just being this space, everything seems to work itself out. Every time you come to this place of just being, it'll be harder and harder to leave it. Just allowing your mind and your body to rest here. This quietness of your being that is nourishing your body and mind. Perhaps touching on your authentic being. This place where we don't need to achieve anything. We don't need to get anywhere. Allowing your body to relax in this openness that is your real being. Recognizing that the more we just be, the better we feel. Recognizing that we can move through our entire life from this place. That we can meet every experience from this quietness. And at any time you want to come back to this place, is just here. So, in a few moments, we're going to bring the meditation to a close and the satsang. Before we do that, let's be sure to notice that we can still simply be, that we don't need to go back into doing with our eyes open. Our mind, our body will do. We can just be while our body's talking and walking and moving, while our mind is thinking and doing and planning. We can just be. What would it be like to go through the rest of your life from this place? Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.